All right, today we are diving headfirst into one of the absolute cornerstones of Western philosophy, Plato's Republic. And what's wild is that this huge, complex book is really all about one single question: what is justice? And, maybe more importantly, why should any of us bother being a good person if we could get away with being bad? Let's get into it.
So let me ask you a question, the same one Plato uses to kick this whole thing off. Imagine you found a ring that could make you totally invisible. You could do literally anything you wanted and nobody would ever know. No punishment, no consequences, nothing. Would you still do the right thing? I mean, really think about it. That's the challenge that sets this entire masterpiece in motion.
To really drive this point home, Plato tells a story through his brother, Glaucon. It's about this regular shepherd, Gyges, who stumbles upon a magic ring. He fiddles with it, and whoa, he's invisible. So what does he do with this incredible new power? Does he fight for the little guy, defend the weak? Nope. He immediately heads to the palace, uses his invisibility to seduce the queen, helps her plot to kill the king, and then just takes over the entire kingdom. He gets everything he could ever want, and no one is the wiser.
And here's where Glaucon throws down the gauntlet. He basically says, okay, Socrates, imagine there are two rings. We give one to a person we know is just, and one to a person we know is unjust. Glaucon's bet? It wouldn't make a lick of difference. He argues that anyone, no matter how virtuous they seem, would do the exact same thing as Gyges. His point is that justice is just a performance we put on because we're scared of getting caught. Take away that fear, and, well, we're all just tyrants waiting for our chance.
So this is it. This is the core question of the Republic. What's actually better for you? To be a good person deep down in your soul? Or is it smarter to just look like a good person on the outside while secretly doing whatever benefits you? Glaucon is betting it all on just seeming just. But Socrates, he accepts the challenge. He's about to spend the rest of the book trying to prove that being genuinely just is the best way to live, even if you had that ring and the whole world thought you were evil.
So how in the world is Socrates going to prove something that big? Well, he has a pretty ingenious approach. He says that trying to find justice in a single human soul is like trying to read tiny, tiny letters from really far away. It's almost impossible. So he says, let's do this instead. Let's build a whole city in our imagination, a perfectly just city. Because a city, he argues, is just the human soul, but bigger. It's the soul writ large. If we can figure out what makes the city just, we can then use that as a map to understand the individual. And so they start building. The first draft is this simple, healthy city. Just farmers, builders, weavers. Everyone does their job. Everyone has what they need. But Glaucon immediately complains. He calls it a city of pigs and says people want more. They want luxuries, nice furniture, rich foods, art. This desire turns the simple city into a luxurious city, which is way more complex. But more stuff requires more land, which leads to conflict and war. And to have a war, you need an army. So they create a special class of warriors they call the Guardians.
And this is the moment where Socrates reveals his masterstroke. You see, this whole time, they thought they were talking about political science, about how to build a perfect society. But Socrates pulls back the curtain and shows them it was never really about the city at all. The city was a metaphor. It's a perfect mirror, an exact blueprint of the human soul. They've been drawing a map of what's inside every single one of us. And look at how beautifully this maps out. You've got the three classes in the city, which correspond to the three parts of the soul. At the bottom, you have the producers, the craftsmen and farmers. They represent our appetites, right? Our desires for food, drink, money, all that stuff. Then you have the auxiliaries, the soldiers. They represent our spirit, the part that loves honor and gets angry at injustice. And finally, at the very top, you have the rulers, the wise philosopher kings. And they, of course, represent reason.
So now, with this whole structure laid out, Socrates can finally give us his definition of justice. And it's a game changer. He says justice isn't about following rules or not stealing. No, real justice is an internal state. It's a state of perfect harmony, where each part of your soul is doing its proper job. Your reason is in charge, making the decisions. Your spirit acts as its enforcer, providing the courage. And your appetites, well, they're kept in check. That inner balance, that beautiful psychic order, that is justice.
Okay, so armed with this new definition, we can finally go back to Glaucon's original challenge. Who is actually the happier person? The unjust tyrant with his magic ring who gets to satisfy every single whim and desire, or the just philosopher, whose main goal is to keep that perfect harmony inside his own soul.
Socrates paints this absolutely terrifying picture of what the tyrant's soul actually looks like. Because his appetites are in charge, his soul is a chaotic mess. He describes it as a many-headed monster, just filled with all sorts of wild animals, constantly fighting each other for control. It's a nightmare. The tyrant isn't a master of his kingdom. He's a total slave to his own worst impulses.
The philosopher's soul, on the other hand, is the complete opposite. It's an image of peace and order. Reason is the wise shepherd, calmly guiding everything. The spirit is like a noble lion, protecting the flock and helping the shepherd. And the appetites are like the sheep. They're cared for, they're tended to, but they are absolutely never, ever in charge.
So that's the bottom line. The unjust soul is in a state of constant civil war. It's a slave to chaos. It can't possibly be happy. But the just soul, it's in a state of peace. It's a master of itself. It's whole, it's balanced, it's unified. And for Plato, that inner peace, that psychic wholeness, well, that is happiness.
And there it is. That's Socrates' ultimate answer to the challenge of Gyges' ring. The real reason to be just has nothing to do with reputation or rewards or avoiding punishment. The ultimate reward of justice is justice itself. It's not about what you get on the outside. It's about the peaceful, orderly, and harmonious person you become on the inside.
I mean, Plato's own words just say it all, don't they? The just person sets in order his own inner life and becomes his own master. That's the prize, being at peace with yourself. And according to Plato, that kind of inner freedom is worth more than all the power and gold a magic ring could ever give you.
So when you boil it all down, Plato is arguing that justice is just another name for psychological health. To be just is to be happy. And that leaves us with one final, pretty heavy question, the one Plato intended for every single person to ask themselves. Take a look inside your own inner city. Who's sitting on the throne? Is it your reason, your spirit, or your appetites?